That creature up there looks quite strange, Ivan. And is the player planning to hunt that thing or just staring at it in the grass? And what is that ridiculous yellow creature doing in the air, Ivan? And it looks like some sort of flying chicken, huh? And that creature on the screen looks like something out of a fever dream, Ivan. It has those ridiculous purple antlers, huh? I suppose the player thinks riding such a colorful beast is impressive, but it looks far too loud for my taste. That landscape looks somewhat peaceful, Ivan, even with all that chaos happening on the screen. And is the player trying to fight those winged creatures in the field? Looks like the player is just wandering through some peaceful forest, Ivan. And that mission list on the right seems a bit cluttered, huh? Look at that purple creature riding through the woods, Ivan. The mission on the screen says something about defeating Axel in the Tower of Eternal Flame, huh? That landscape is a bit too colorful for my taste, Ivan. And the player seems to be targeting something with that bow, though those purple structures in the sky look quite strange. That creature looks like a fever dream, Ivan. The colors are far too bright for my taste, man god, it is almost blinding. What kind of ridiculous creature is the player riding now, Ivan? That purple thing looks like a fever dream, huh? That player is making quite a mess of things with those arrows, Ivan. Man God, all this flashing light and combat just to defeat some guy named Axel in a tower. It looks exhausting, huh? Staring at a map for too long is a waste of time, Ivan. Man God, this looks like a mess of tiny icons and useless marking. Just pick a direction and move already, huh? You have quite a cluttered collection of creatures on this screen, Ivan. And are you planning to use that Arsox for something specific, or is it just sitting there at level 31? Man God, seeing all those icons at once is a bit overwhelming. So, the player is standing in front of this Torre de la Llama Eterna. Is there something significant inside that tower, Ivan, or is it just another waste of time? This looks like a chaotic mess of lights and numbers, Ivan. The player is struggling against those two, Axel and Orser, huh? 10 minutes on that timer is quite a lot of time to waste if they keep playing like that. Looks like the player is facing Axel and Ortherk in this dark place, Ivan. The mission objective is clearly visible on the top right, so try not to mess this up. Is this fight going to be as long as that timer suggests, huh? Man God, you are just staring at a chat window instead of actually doing something, Ivan. And it looks like you are waiting for someone to finish a download just to play Palworld. This waiting is as tedious as a lecture from my old history teacher had. That boss's health bar is ridiculously long even. Main god, the player better not mess up this fight against Axel and Orser. And Axel and Orsek look like quite the headache, Ivan. Is the player actually planning to take them on with that setup, or is this just a death wish? And that boss looks like a complete headache, Ivan. Are those two fighting together, or is the player just watching the chaos unfold? And that glowing creature looks like a nuisance, Ivan. And is the player actually planning to fight that thing with just a bow, or is it just a waste of time? The timer is ticking away, main god. Hope you don't fail this mission. It looks like the player is facing off against Axel and Orser Ivan. And that massive health bar at the top is quite intimidating, huh? This blue arena looks a bit empty, Mengu. And Axel and Orser look like quite a headache, Ivan. The player is definitely in the middle of a messy fight right now, huh? That boss looks like a nuisance, Ivan. And is the player actually going to face those two at once, or are we just staring at the light? Man god, this blue atmosphere is making me feel sleepy. And it looks like the player is facing Axel and Orserk in that tower, Ivan. And are those two actually going to be a challenge, or is it just more mindless grinding? That Axel and Orserk boss looks like a real headache, Ivan. Try not to let that timer run out before the player manages to land a decent hit. So this is what you spend your time doing, Ivan. Looking at all these colorful little creatures on the screen is quite a distraction from anything meaningful. It seems the player is just managing an inventory of monsters now, huh? That glowing pillar looks like something that would attract far too much unnecessary attention, Ivan. And is the mission to defeat Axel in the Eternal Flame Tower, or are you just wandering around in the dark? Mengat, this place looks incredibly gloomy and empty, Ivan. And all those notifications on the right are just cluttering the view while the player stands around in the dark. This place looks like a burning hellscape, Ivan. The player is wandering through some volcanic wasteland to find Axel, huh? It is incredibly dark, and that red glow is doing nothing for the visibility. That map looks like a goddamn mess, Ivan. All those red zones are just going to be a headache for the player to navigate. This looks like a chaotic mess of fire and bright lights, Ivan. The player seems to be struggling with those burning trees right there. Man god, all that visual noise just to fight some bush? The player is just wandering through some trees, Ivan. Man god, this scenery is far too peaceful for someone about to face an invasion, ja? So the player is level 30 now, Ivan? That inventory looks like a cluttered mess of useless junk, huh? Man god, staring at his stats is making me sleepy. Just staring at a wooden chest in the middle of nowhere, Ivan? Man god, the player seems quite content gathering resources in this field. Sorting through all this junk in a wooden chest seems like a waste of time, Ivan. Man god, the player is just staring at an inventory full of random scraps and food. It looks messy, just like the aftermath of a poorly planned raid. So Ivan, you are just staring at these menus now? Man god, all these little creatures and stats are quite overwhelming to look at. It seems the player is busy managing a whole collection of these things instead of actually doing anything useful. Mengut, another screen full of tedious menus and lists, Ivan. Sorting through all these attributes and work skills seems like a waste of time when there are actual things to do. So, the player is heading toward the Tower of the Eternal Flame now, Ivan. That golden creature on the right looks somewhat majestic, Mengad. It certainly stands out against those barren dunes. This looks like some kind of colorful battle, Ivan. And is that blue creature supposed to be helping the player, or is it just making a mess of things? And that map is quite a mess, Ivan. All those little icons are cluttering up the screen, making it hard to see anything useful. And that creature looks like it's about to lose its mind, Ivan. And it seems Gorilla just unlocked some sort of savage power, yeah? The player better be ready for whatever that beast throws next.